Alright, so we are Team Brickaneers.
I'm Alex Smith.
I'm Caleb Phillips.
Cody Gilliman.
I'm Justin Martin.
So brainstorming ideas. We knew kind of what we wanted our robot to do. We wanted to be able to walk forward. We wanted it to have legs, multiple legs, so it could walk. We're thinking about putting wheels on the base, so for like stability. We also had the idea of putting the wheels on the bottom of the legs, for like a traction. Wide multi-legged base. The wide leg base would just be so we could put wheels in the middle, so it wouldn't fall over. And originally we wanted it to be able so when it saw an object, it could crouch down and then go under it. But that, yeah, that didn't work very well.
So we had an idea what we wanted the sensors to do. We wanted the touch sensor to run into like the wall or something and then back up. The sound sensor we were gonna have when it started turning, that we would just clap, it would stop, and that didn't work out so well. The light sensor was, so when we were going forward, that it would sense how much light there is and it would just completely stop it in the dark. And then the ultrasonic was to make it back up and not fall off the edge. That didn't work out. So now it just stops us when we run into a wall behind it. So this was day one. When we first got our Lego pieces, I kind of just built that, and it rolled, but that was it.
Okay, so for the initial leg design, we had absolutely no idea how we were going to make it walk. So we were just kind of brainstorming, and the idea behind this one was kind of a locomotive-based, you know, like the wheel would turn and then that would move a crank that would move another wheel and it would move at the same pace. But unfortunately with this one, when the wheel would turn, it would just move this beam back and forth, so it wouldn't pick the leg up and walk forward, it would just kind of shimmy. And then, so we came up with a couple different leg designs. This one, we decided to connect it to two different places and then have the wheel actually turn the leg so it would take a step. The design that we had here would have lots of problems. It was really unstable and they wouldn't turn at the same rate, so we ended up having one of them turn and then the other one would like not turn and get stuck, and then it would start like doing the same shimmy kind of thing.
So some of the issues we had with the legs is the legs weren't actually bringing it forward since they were off balance, so it just kind of danced in a way. And they weren't reinforced enough, so we're coming up with the problem that the leg would just be coming out and it would just be falling apart.
Okay, so this design, I kind of came up with it to not only keep the robot stable, because when the legs would walk, it would just fall apart, but also we had an idea for making the robot go in reverse. So what we did was we came up with like a wheelbase to keep the robot sturdy, you know, as it was walking forward or moving backwards, and then we used our third motor to actually come down and then have some wheels on it to make it go in reverse when it would hit something.
So our final leg design, to fix the reinforcement issues, we put that cross at the very bottom. Also to solve the issues of the side attached to the motor, pretty much we got rid of the train design, and behind the motor we put some gears, so it turned both of the legs at the same time, both sides of it.
So some of our main issues were getting the sensors to actually work. I did a lot of the programming and I had no idea what I was doing, and we didn't follow any of the little guides. I didn't even know they were there, so we just kind of started putting little motors on and sensors, and we had no idea how to do it. So a touch sensor was supposed to cause legs to come down, but the problem was sometimes the legs would be stuck on the ground when the reverse wheels came back. And if you looked on the little picture, we have little those little rubber things on the legs. So what happened is they would hook onto the ground, and then the reverse wheels would come down and do absolutely nothing but start clicking the whole time because it couldn't move backwards. We installed the ultrasonic sensor. We didn't do that until the very last, and what we did is we wanted it on the back so that when it saw something, it would stop going in reverse. But the problem was we put it on the legs, and when the wheels came down, it worked perfect, and then it sent something, and they couldn't go back up because it weighed too much. And then the light sensor we had a ton of trouble with because we didn't know what to set the sensitivity at. We didn't want it to follow a line or anything. We just wanted it so that when the lights turned off, it did something. But we didn't do very good. And we ended up with a dancing robot, which we're going to show you a video of.
Yeah, the dancing robot, what happened is when we tried to get it to turn, the legs would be offset, and then it would just rock back and forth and it wouldn't go anywhere.
So that's what it did the whole time. We thought it looked like the little guy from Transformers, so we thought it was kind of cool. But yeah, then it didn't work so well. Okay, so programming the sensors turned out a lot more complicated. That's pretty much what we spent the whole time doing. The actual, Cody and Caleb did a lot of the actual building, then me and Alex spent most of the time on the computer. And they actually built it pretty quickly. They had their first leg design in the first day, and then within the next 2 days they had the final leg design they wanted, but we couldn't compensate and we did not know how to make any program to work with the legs they wanted. All we knew how to do was make the motor spin. And the main problem we had was that we'd make the motor spin, but they wouldn't spin at the same time, and then if you're turning, Jay was telling us that they're programmed for a car, so one of the motors would turn faster, and when you're turning, we didn't want that because they get out of sync, so then when the legs would stop turning, they would be at different positions, so then when you wanted it to move, they would just start dancing all over again. That's pretty much our main problem. And then about 2 or 3 class days ago, we had what we called reverse progress day. We actually named a program after it. It ruined our entire program. Whatever we did, we messed up with something, then saved it, and no, our robot didn't do anything anymore. All it did was dance, and it didn't do any of the program we had made it do. So we went over to Alex's house and spent the whole day redoing what we had a couple days ago. So that was probably the biggest bummer. The final steps, we tuned the robot sensors with all the different settings for the light and stuff. We installed a lot of loops, which we had trouble with because we had to make sure that it would end at the same amount of rotations while still getting out of the loop when we needed it to. So then we did a ton of test runs, which we always thought were going to work, and they never did. And then we finally had success. And there's a picture of the final robot. I'll show you guys what it does.
Okay.
We want to do it on the ground.
I'd say that's safer. Yeah, let's do it on the ground.
So you guys might have to stand up if you want to watch it. I guess you'll just have to walk over here.
Okay, so hopefully this will all work. And then we'll just keep reversing until it finds an obstacle.
That was the main problem with the turning is every once in a while you see they connect, but other times they don't. And when they connect, it works really good. When they don't, it sucks. You need to push it, Cody, when it goes forward. So what we do is we have it on a loop, and then skip the touch sensor. And then what we had to do is when the lights go off,
Kind of hard to see.
well, we can wait.
But now that the lights are off, it'll get out of the loop after it does its turning.
And then you guys get to see it dance, hopefully.
can see anything.
I think we can turn the lights back on for the.
Yeah, so then it stops when the lights go off and then you clap. And then we made it start dancing.
Little dance.
We figured since it danced all the time on purpose, we should try making it work. The funny part was when we wanted it to dance, it wouldn't do it anymore. It took a long time to make it dance. We started trying to get it dance and just started walking forward. It's really annoying. But yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Any questions?